last night, the first.
What does that mean?
Probably
Nick?
That means he drives the fastest?
Yeah.
Try to keep up with our players. You try to keep up with our players. You can't do it. I guarantee you can't do it.
Not Sam Williams.
Yeah. Stop.
Oh.
It's going to be that kind of day?
Wow.
It's going to be that kind of
You
day.
said driving fast.
I didn't say names. It's going to be that kind of day. Okay. All right. I see what kind of day it's going to be. Okay. Yeah. You're going to get short and sweet answers. I can promise you that. Yes. No.
Next question.
Exactly. I like that better.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. What was your message to your team today after what happened yesterday?
I told them the truth. I told them that we did not play that game physical enough. When you look at it, they controlled the line of scrimmage. They owned the line of scrimmage. That's part of our identity. We were not surprised by it, but at the same time, it was one game. And we know we can be a physical football team. We know we've done that at times, but we weren't that yesterday. Different reasons. I think they did some really good scheme stuff to us on their defensive side of the ball. They two-gapped us some of their read and react stuff. They took us, they stretched us out a little bit, and I didn't think like we ever found our rhythm. Anytime you have your longest run is 6 yards, that's not very good. And then on the other side of the ball, I think that they just they wanted to come in and double team us and run duo, and our fits were off. The run fits they're hard. They're calculated, and you got to get everybody in the same gaps. And they strained us some, and they got some balls on the perimeter that we didn't have much contain for, and they hit explosives and we didn't.
You guys been so up and down this year. How do you try to make sure this doesn't get out of control here, and this season goes where you don't want it to go?
Yeah, well, certainly we focus in the moment, and again, the consistency or inconsistency is real, and I think that it goes back to practice. We want to have good days of practice. We want to focus on the fundamentals. I think that's one of the things that when you're a little bit inconsistent, it's not always scheme. The schemes weren't perfect yesterday. I can assure you of that in all three phases. But, we need to get back to really emphasizing fundamentals and letting these guys go play and play with confidence and have the ability to win their matchups with their fundamentals.
Until DLLS Cowboys, when you have so many holes, I guess, in the running game and the passing game, was it hero ball? Because you say the guys understand the scheme and they know what they're supposed to do. Were they doing too much hero ball, or how
define hero ball for me? Trying to make plays, guys trying to make plays
and not follow their keys.
Yeah, I think you did see guys pressing. It goes back to the thing that I say, Clarence, in terms of hey, don't press, just go play. And I think anytime you're giving up big plays and you can't stop the run and you're struggling to do that, guys are going to try to shoot gaps and do things like that. And the one thing about defense is, if one guy is out of position or one guy's supposed to be in the A gap and he's in the B gap, that creates running lanes. And so I don't think hero ball's it, but I do think that there's times where guys press and they're trying to make plays. And why? Because they want to win and they want to try to help things turn around, and that's not usually a good recipe, though.
Stephen Jones said on the radio today that you guys make some changes and do things that either the players want to do or fit them best, and kind of match that with what Eberflus's scheme wants you guys to do. Can you talk about what that may look like?
Yeah, we started early this morning, as you can imagine, and with the defensive staff, and just looking at all types of different things, and we watched the film a little bit different than we did. We didn't just kind of watch the game. Usually you watch the game sequentially. It was a little different. We wanted to watch kind of all the first, second down runs and then all the first, second down passes. Why? Well, there's breakdowns, and we need to figure out what those breakdowns are. And sometimes when you're jumping from first, second to third down to red zone to 2-minute to things like that, you can't pinpoint some of the solutions. And we've got a board filled of ideas and things that we really think will help. This is a system that, from a multiple standpoint, we can play man-to-man. We do play man-to-man. We we play fire zones that are matchy, which means man-to-man. But we're not really doing anything from a consistency standpoint that's great. Like when we fix the one issue in the passing game, then the run game, pops back up. So that's why I go back to, yes, we're looking at everything, and we're going to make changes and then make adjustments, and certainly not going to share those with you guys. But I want to go back to the fact of the other thing we need to do as coaches is emphasize fundamentals and hand placements and fits and how you take on a combination block with your near arm and your near foot and how you shoot the gap to create separation so that your buddy can come off and make a play. Those little finite details are the things that we're not doing from a consistent standpoint, which is why we struggled yesterday.
You do that in minicamp, you do that in training camp. You have enough time in the season to hone in those things like that?
Yeah, you do. And it's our job as coaches and my job as head coach to adjust the practice schedule. And if we need more individual time, then something's got to get cut. And is that individual that gets moved here? Or you add a piece here and you do a little less of a team period, or you take a little bit from a water break, but you find the answers. Our job is to find solutions. And that's what this staff is committed to doing. And whether we win or we lose, we're always looking for solutions. And that was the other message I said to the guys is, we have to be solution-oriented. And that's coach to coach, coach to player, player to player. And that's how you win in this league.
Brian, Todd Archer with ESPN. Are those solutions in-house? Do you have enough to find those solutions on the field?
Yeah, I think so. I really do. I think, we're going to continue to make these guys compete for playing time. We're not I'm not putting blame on any player that maybe doesn't start this week or doesn't. We as the coaching staff have to be better. We know that in all three phases. But if you believe in the mantra of compete every day, the best players need to play. And we need to continue to focus on things that we do well. We certainly did not do enough of that at the line of scrimmage yesterday, both phases running the football and stopping the run. But it doesn't mean you don't have the people to do it. It just means you have to look for solutions. And does that mean there's going to be some potential changes that you see us do differently? Yes. Is it going to be something that just jumps off the film and all we do now is play nothing but man-to-man? No, that's not happening. But there will be some changes, and there will be some things that we look at that as we figure out our personnel even more, that you'll see us maybe move into a direction where you're seeing more of that.
And there's always what ifs during the course of the season and things that have happened. A lot of people say if Micah was here, this defense would be a bit different. Do you think that this defense would be different if Micah was still here?
No, I don't. I don't really know. Mike's a great player. We've got other great players, but it takes 11 on defense. And again, that is the thing that, 9-10 guys on a football team, offense, defense, special teams, if one of those is a little off with their assignment, a little off with their alignment, then plays happen. And so I think it's more about the guys that are here continue to impress on them the importance of doing their job and doing it correctly and with the right fundamental and technique. And that's really what we're focused on.
John Machota with The Athletic, specifically with the linebacker play. What do you see from that group that makes you think that you can get better play there and that they will have the answers as the season goes on?
Yeah, well, I think, I would start with this. Number one, you go to Shamar. Shamar is a guy that we see the traits, we see the ability to dissect and make plays and shoot gaps and very, very physical. K9 playing a different position last week. That was different for him. Being the guy making all the calls and the green dot and all that stuff with Jack being out. That affects things. Maris comes in the game, and we bring him on an edge pressure, and he gets the only sack of the day. And we're going to continue to play some base, but also you'll see us play nickel some, and you'll see us play different versions of nickel. And again, we want to get everybody involved. That's part of the deal. We want to have different packages, and quite honestly, I think some of the things that we can do from playing nickel different ways is what's important. That's kind of what Carolina did to us yesterday. They made us work, and give them credit. They were in 3-4, and then they were in nickel, and then they were in dime, and then they were playing 5-1, and that gave us some problems from a communication standpoint. And But again, this is not a issue of personnel. It's an issue of execution, and we have to coach it better. We have to detail it better, and then the players have to go out there and play.
And then offensively, how do you get the guys on the offensive side of the ball to not feel like they have to do everything, they have to be perfect for you guys to have any chance of winning on Sundays?
Well, listen, I'll start with this. I mean, when the defense got the 3 and out in the fourth quarter and we got the ball at the 46-yard line, I had no doubt in my mind that we were going to go win that football game. And the first play is a screen that, they kind of string it out and they make the tackle, and then, the next 2 calls, they force a check down, and but we had our chances. I mean, hey, if we go 3 for 4 or 4 for 4 in the red zone, which is what we've done, then we're not even having this conversation. So you're not going to find anybody in the offensive room that feels like the defense is letting us down. I truly believe that. This is a team game. And there's no reason we shouldn't go 4 for 4 in the red zone. We've proven we've gone 3 for 4, 5 for 5, whatever it's been. We've done that. So, we need to focus on doing our job, and special teams need to do their job. And there's plenty of things to clean up, not just on the defensive side of the ball.
Nick Harris, 4-Star Telegram. How much of the defensive conversations are part of trying to force takeaways as well? You have a couple corners that have led the league in interceptions in past years. Those guys don't have any quite yet.
Yeah.
How much of the conversation?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that's a huge deal. Like when you're giving up yards, which we've given up yards, Nick. I mean, we're giving up too many big plays, and you're giving up yards, and whether it's runs that pop for 7 or 8 or passes that go for 10 to 14, whatever it is, the greatest differentiator of that is creating turnovers. And we are +1 in the last 3 games. All 3 games, the offense has not turned it over in 3 games. That's a pretty good streak. Defensively, we've taken away. I almost manifested Dono's. I told the guys last week I felt like the defense was going to score. And when Dono got the interception, I thought that was going to come true. My opinion with turnovers is you can't force them to happen. You train them in practice. We do ball, disruption drills every day. And they're going to come, and when they come in bunches. But, again, I think that, great punch out by Donovan, Azaraku yesterday on the one off of Rico late. They kind of get it back, but you can't chase them because that goes back to, I can't remember how we referred to it as hero ball. But no, you can't chase it. But when they're there, you got to maximize them. And I think they do come in bunches.
Stephen seemed optimistic about Booker, Lamb, Turpin this week. Your thoughts?
Yeah, again, we'll see how they do tomorrow, but I think all those guys, we hope to see them out on the practice field at some point this week, and if we get them out there, then we'll kind of see where they're at from the ability to move around and conditioning and all that, but I would say we're hopeful.
Tommy Arsh, DallasCowboys.com, ran for 180 yards against the Jets without 4 of your starters on the offensive line. When you get 2 back and can't get the run game going, is it frustrating a little bit? And what when you watched it back, did you see just in the run game on offense that wasn't clicking?
Yeah, like I said, there was a lot of penetration. It's a big physical group. They got A'Shawn Robinson, they got Derek Brown, and I felt like our combinations and communication weren't great. I thought it wasn't ID issues. The IDs were fine, but we didn't communicate it up and down the line, so there were times that we were targeted and maybe not all working in the same direction. But the biggest thing was we didn't give the backs a lot of opportunity to press the hole. Some of it, I think, was schematically our design as a staff. We need to look at that. Next time we're going to play another read and react front here in a couple weeks. And but, I mean, that's a defense. I'm going to give them credit. They held Miami to 19 yards rushing. They held us to 31 yards rushing. I mean, it's a very, very good front. And that's not our standard. And so, we have to adjust it. And it starts with us as a coaching staff first.
And then with talking about the pressing or hero ball or whatever it would be.
It's a new term. He's going to patent it, hero ball. He's going to patent it. Before I do, I might do it before he does it. Tad, write that down.
Is part of the way to tweak that, maybe fixing the mental side of things, just players having confidence of like, this is where I'm supposed to be, even if maybe when they look at it, it may seem like something else is going on that would cause them to move off their assignment?
Yeah, ask the question again. I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're asking.
Just if somebody's moving off of their key or something like that is part of the solution to that, and they're doing so because they think something else is occurring to where a bigger play would happen, is some of that just getting right mentally to instill the confidence of you got to trust what you're trust the scheme, trust what you're seeing?
Yeah, I think our eye discipline has not been to standard. It's not where it needs to be, and we need to look at that, and we need to basically simplify what they're looking at. So if you're a linebacker, you have a triangle that you read. What's the triangle? It's the center, the two guards, and the back. Well, if I'm not seeing the triangle well at times, then you make it a little bit smaller, and you'll go the center and the play side guard, or the center and the backside guard, or the center and the back, because sometimes when you're trying to see a lot, you see a lot, and it takes you out of position. And so us simplifying their eye discipline and their eye gaze is part of the solutions that we're trying to create, because our guys are getting distracted and pulled certain ways in certain fits, and that's why we're late to the fits, and that's why you see our defensive tackles getting displaced at times, because if you don't have a linebacker taking a guy off a double team, the double team's going to hang forever, and you're going to get knocked back.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Brian, a lot of the players have been saying, guys, the communication, that this has led to blown coverages and guys not being in the right spots. How surprising is it to still be dealing with that 6 weeks into the season? Yeah,
it should not be happening at the level. I think, there was a call that, came in a little late the other day, and I had to burn a timeout, and Flus knows that, and he and I have discussed that. And, the changing of personnel makes coordinators work. I try to do it to defensive coordinators all the time. I'll sub personnel's in late, knowing that it kind of puts them up against it. But we have to communicate better. And again, are close calls getting made? Yes, they're getting made. Close left, close right. That's how you set the front. But in terms of when people change strengths and things like that, I do feel like it's not being communicated to the standard of a championship defense where guys are all on the same page. And that's problematic, and that starts with us as a staff. Why? You got to ask the question why. Like, we didn't sit in the meetings today and just be like, yeah, we got to do this better. No, it's why. Well, why is that happening? And so you come up with a list of why it's happening. Okay, great. Okay, to the left of that board, or to the right of that board, I guess, is a list of, okay, these are the solutions so that doesn't happen anymore. And then you prepare those things, and that's your Wednesday install with the guys, and you start there. And what we have to do, especially on the defensive side of the ball, is adjust and tighten up 10 or 15%. You can't change 100%. We don't need to change 100%. We do good things, but we have to tighten up 10 or 15%, and that's what we're going to do. And it's going to be the 10 or 15% that we think gives us the best chance to win.
What are the solutions to, on a high level, tighten up the communication thing?
Yeah. Again, it starts with just the conversation in meetings, making guys talk, making guys speak up, making guys share information. It sounds crazy, but if we started something, up here with Clarence, and we played the whisper game or whatever, and it kind of got back there to back, it'd be totally different than what he said. It wouldn't be hero ball. It'd be something different. And so guys have to be boisterous. Guys have to have command. Now, guess what? If you're not sure, guys tend to whisper. So we got to make sure our guys are damn sure, and that they know exactly what we're doing, so they can make the calls loud. And when they're bumping, they're bumping. When they're skying, they're skying. When they're buzzing, when they're clouding, they're clouding. Those are all terms that you use, but they have to say it loud, and they have to do it with confidence. And if you don't speak with confidence, it's hard sometimes to get everybody feeling confident.
Newey.
You have your phone off? Get your phone off? You sure about that? Promise? Promise? Okay, just making sure. All right, we're good. We're back. We're good.
Your quarterback has played really well in the last 3 weeks. 11 touchdowns, 1 interception here, 800-something yards. Is it frustrating? You feel like maybe you're almost wasting some of these performances because this is high-level stuff you're getting from number 4?
He's playing great, and I don't think anybody's surprised by the fact he's playing great. I think when you look at it, our focus is to go out every time and to play well and play at a high level. And again, do we have the victories that we want, based on Dak's performance? No, we don't. But it doesn't change the fact that Dak needs to continue to do that. And again, he'll be the first one to tell you that, and I'll second my part of it. There were some things in the red zone yesterday that I didn't do very well. There's some things that he felt like he could have done better. And as I always say, it's the ultimate team game. And so Dak's going to be judged just like me on really all these guys on wins and losses. And so stats are great, but at the end of the day, we got to find a way to win.
Skyler Dixon with the AP. You were asked about the fourth down conversion after the game. I just wondered, looking at it a few more times, did you still feel like you all were in what you wanted to be, and that Bland being that far away from the line of scrimmage was an okay thing?
Yeah, Duran thought he was a little tighter than he was. They were in a condensed split. They were close enough, so you never want to be double pressed because he can get picked. Duran thought he was a little bit tighter, and we had K9 trying to swipe out to it, but there's little things there that we can tighten up and clean up. But again, that game didn't come down to a fourth down. I mean, there's 6, 7, 8 plays in that game that, ultimately, if we make a few plays, give them credit. They made the plays when they need to, and we didn't, and that's why they came away with the win. And I told the guys, I say it all the time, and I'll say it again. I probably said it last night, but we lost the fourth quarter 10-3. They outscored us 10-3 in the fourth quarter, and we play Washington this week, and I guarantee it's going to come down to the fourth quarter as well. And you got to win. You got to win games in the fourth quarter. You got to finish.
You mentioned the screen after you all got the stop. Is that a call you'd like back, or did you still like that?
It didn't work. So I like the call. I do like the call. Maybe the next call I didn't like as much, but. It was not a good sequence of plays for us. It really wasn't. And again, you tell me we get the ball at the 46-yard line and whatever was left, 7, 8 minutes or whatever's left in the fourth quarter, having moved the ball the way we had, I expect this team and myself to go down there and score every time, not just field goals, really touchdowns.
Joe.
Joe Hoyt, Dallas Morning News. I know you talked last week about being a head coach and allowing people to kind of coach in their rooms, especially on defense, without you having to go in there all the time. But when you're going into a week like this looking for solutions, do you plan to maybe spend more time in defensive coaching rooms this week?
I spend more time in all the rooms than you would think. I met, at length with the defense this morning. That's not because I'm panicked. That's because I know that I can offer solutions. And, okay, well, what's Carolina thinking? Well, why are they doing this? Why are they maybe running those type of plays? And here's how I would attack you and things like that. It's not to question. It's to educate them from an offensive standpoint. To make sure we're on the same page, to ask the question why, okay, like we talked about earlier, why, that's part of your job as the head coach. Well, why is that the right call, or why is that technique being used, or why is this guy in that spot? That's your job. And again, I think that the one thing I love about Matt Eberflus is he welcomes it, and he, look, I've been Matt. I've been a coordinator, man, and I've been where people are calling you out and saying you don't know how to coach, and man, this guy's the worst coach in history. Matt Eberflus is a damn good football coach. And we have to perform better. But I've been him, and so part of me being in there is to help as an asset, to tell him I believe in him, I understand what he's going through. It sucks, it's no fun, and we're gonna ride this thing out. And again, we'll play better. We really will.
Patrick.
Hey, Coach Patrick Walker, DallasCowboys.com. The phrase "help being on the way," there are levels for that as far as who's nearing returning. Book, Turp, CD, they got good shots this week. Stephen said to 105.3 The Fan this morning that there's a shot, Mingo and Carson, they're activated. But when you look at guys, you guys lost the battle in the trenches on both sides, as you well admit. Cooper Beebe, Perry and Winfrey, where are those guys in their possible recovery?
Yeah, again, I think all of them are trending up. The few that you mentioned earlier, I think the CDs and the Bookers and Terps and guys like that are a little bit ahead. We've still got till next Wednesday for Mingo and Kalen. But I do think that, the other guys you referenced to, they're doing well. They're getting closer. And, that's all part of the process and the whole roster management. And quite honestly, we came out of this game pretty healthy, is what it looks like. And sometimes, you never wish for it, but sometimes those things have to happen because of injuries. But, thankfully we came out of a game that, we weren't very physical, and we came out of it pretty healthy, and that should help us this week.
Going back to your linebacker core, a lot of youth there, obviously, especially with Jack Sanborn out with the concussion. Just talk about Shamar James. Obviously, 2 games in, he's leading the team in tackles over the course of those 2 games. Some mistakes being made, obviously, the rookie learning curve. What improvement do you need to see from him? But also, contrarily, what are some of the positives that kind of lend to the potential that he has in his level.
Yeah, the positives jump off the film. You guys see the positives. You just mentioned half of them. And this guy dissects plays so fast. This guy's ability to dissect and shoot gaps and make plays and be where he's supposed to be and get guys on the ground. I mean, the number one job of a linebacker is to tackle and get people on the ground, and he's excellent at that. He plays with, and it jumped off the film at Florida too. I mean, that's one of the things that we loved about him was the ability to dissect and use his hands. And he's actually a really good blitzer as well. He's good. He's good at the line of scrimmage. I would say some of the alignments, and he's seen formations he hasn't seen. Think about college, right? I mean, most people in college, they're running tempo, and they're in either 4 wides or 2x2, 3x1, and they're going fast. And so he's not getting the jet sweeps and all the things that change. Okay, the thing we were talking about with eye gaze and eye discipline, and it's going from 1x3 to 2x2 back to 2x2 back to 3x1, and there's all these calls that have to come. It's the little things, it's the details. But in terms of the instincts and the football player, the game comes very, very natural to him, and he has an extremely bright future.
Last question for you. Keep it to the linebackers, those young guys. Maris, he had the sack for you guys yesterday, but when you go back and you look at a play, I believe it was around a minute left in the third quarter, Rico goes up the middle and Maris makes the tackle, and he's an inch or two away from punching that ball free. Are those the types of things you look at when you're looking at film and saying, oh, we were right there, we just got to keep doing what we're doing, and kind of like chopping wood in that regard? Yeah,
it's the intentionality of trying to create turnovers. We know, I mean, again, when you win the turnover battle, I don't know the numbers, but when you win the turnover battle 1-0, which we did yesterday, you generally have a good chance to win. Well, we did have a chance to win, but we weren't, very good running the football or stopping the run. But the intentionality of that punch, I mean, he's the guy that got the knockout against the Jets. I mean, he's a very, very strong physical player. This is not something he's just learned here. It's something that he did, innately at Notre Dame. And, I think that violence that he brings is what you like about him. And there's things that we can do with him, and you'll see some adjustments that we probably use him a little bit differently because of that.
Pop. Overshown window start this week. Is there any hope there?
In the next week or two, I would think. So all signs are pointing to the next week or so, and I know he's gotten some very, very good reviews, and so I think we're getting really close.
And then obviously you have the bye that factors in when I assume you're not going to be practicing or doing very much. How does that impact when you start?
Again, I mean, we take all of it into consideration. Hell, I can't even think when the bye is. You live in the moment up here, but all those things come into factor, in terms of, because we do have some tight, we have 3 games in 12 days and then 3 in 11 days or something like that. So the practices at that point become a little bit limited. So all those things we factor into the decision-making process.
When we talk about communication, do you feel like your defensive players are believing in the calls because there's a reluctance? Do you almost have to convince them to say, hey, this is going to work,
I think I have no problem with them being our confidence right now is a little bit, of concern. Why? Well, we're not playing great, and so when you're not playing great, and they're all welcome to their opinions. I mean, I listen to players all the time, and do I think that us playing nothing but man-to-man is the answer? No, I don't. Us playing nothing but zone, is that the answer? No. Us fitting gaps right and us executing what the call is, but I think it goes back to, I don't think the lack of communication is lack of confidence in the call. I think it's lack of getting it out and this just changed really fast from this to that. And so those are things that we have to do in walkthroughs. Those are things we have to do in barrel drills with the linebackers and safeties. They're the biggest part of it. It's been a little bit of a lot of moving parts going around with the safeties, with Hook being out, and now Ye's doing some really good things for us. And I thought Falus's first call of the game yesterday was incredible. I mean, he fired Ye right off the edge and got a chance to tackle Rico for a TFL or a no-yard gain. And, Ye just kind of the way he comes in, he gets kind of bumped and he's a little high, and next thing you know, Rico goes for 9 yards. So I think part of it is getting these guys to practice together and communicate, because that's a big part of it too.
Is it tough to put Wilson out in center field like that sometimes?
Who?
Donovan Wilson.
No, I don't think so. I mean, Donovan's a great player. I mean, again, you love him down around the box because of how physical he is. I think they did a good job. They schemed us up yesterday, and they kind of moved the receiver to get away from Donovan to get him out of the box, and they kind of were running the ball at ready and some of the nickel stuff we were doing. But no, I think we all realize Donovan's strengths, but again, that those things happen sometimes when you're out there, and sometimes it's got to do with pass rush and other things that affect those looks.
Alrighty, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Brian.